file view if you prefer different setups that way. There's a chat over in the left-hand corner. Kim and I will be monitoring that. And at the very end, make sure you stay on to the end, I'll be sharing a link to the Professional Development Hour form in the chat. So make sure you hang on for that. I believe with that, I will turn it over to Courtney.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here today. My name is Courtney Vanderheiden, and I am here with Smart Technologies. I am the education consultant for what we call the North Central Territory, which includes Illinois. So my territory includes Illinois and Iowa and Nebraska. So hopefully I saw some of you guys at IdeaCon, but if not, and this is your first introduction to Smart, or your first introduction to Lumio, which is our web-based software, we're excited to have you here. I'm going to get into sharing my screen here in a second. Just a little overview. We're going to talk all about our web-based solution, Lumio, today. But with me today, I have Kim Perillo. So you'll see her, and she'll come off. Just give a little introduction here about herself, too, once I get into the slides. So we have a great hour of fun-filled information, and here I think we're going to start. So first things first, in the chat, I am going to put a link. So this is a link for you guys to be entered into kind of a giveaway or a raffle, so you can win some fun prizes. And this is also a way that we can keep in touch with you after this webinar as well. So I'll put the link in the chat here. I know Kim will probably do that a couple of times as well. So just click on that link. It doesn't have to be right now, but fill that out and you'll be automatically entered to win a great prize from our Lumio offerings. So like I said, with that, I'm going to share my screen here and get right into this. So here we go. Okay, so Lumio by Smart. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say Kim is going to moderate any questions that you put in the chat as well. So if you do have questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll get those answered for you the best that we can. So again, Lumio is a web-based software solution provided by Smart Technologies. And we're going to kind of go through how we can utilize this in your classroom to really enhance the engagement, the collaboration, the interactivity within your teaching. So like I said, I'm Courtney. I'm the education consultant for our North Central Territory. A little bit about me. I am a former educator as well. So I'm from Algonquin, Illinois, but I taught in Mundelein, Illinois, and I currently reside in Chicago. So I am your local education consultant, and I taught Spanish at the middle school level for 11 years before transitioning into kind of a different career and then finding my way to Smart Technologies and working with EdTech, which has been phenomenal. So Kim, if you want to share a little bit about yourself too, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kim Perillo. I work with Courtney in the North Central region, and I'm also a former educator and have been working with Smart for the past 5 years. So I'm excited to help answer any questions that you may have in the chat, and excited to share this information with you.
Awesome, thanks Kim. And Kim, just an FYI for you, I can't see, like, because I'm sharing, I can't see anything. So
right.
Really just stop me at any point when there's
no
questions.
Problem. No problem.
All right, so here's the thing about Lumio. So how does it work essentially? So I've already told you that it's web-based. So students and yourself can access it from any browser of your choice. So Google Chrome, Chromium, Firefox, Safari, any of those that work best for you. So basically, you start with either ready-made content or lessons that you already have. So meaning you can take your already existing lessons that you have in, let's say, Google Slides, PowerPoint, or even Smart Notebook files, if you guys are familiar with Smart already, or PDF files. And you can just take those existing files and it allows you to import them into Lumio, which then allows you to kind of zhuzh them up a little bit and make them more interactive. So there's no recreating the wheel when it comes to Lumio. You literally can start with content or lessons that you already have. Once you import your content or your lessons into Lumio, you then can enhance those lessons with active learning tools. And it is super, super easy to do that. So we'll show you how to do that towards kind of the end of the presentation. Once you have your lessons and your content fully created and enhanced and ready for delivery, you can actually deliver those lessons in a number of different ways, including hands-on learning to individual student devices. So if you guys have a one-to-one technology situation with your students, no matter if they're on iPads or Chromebooks or laptops or Macs, you can deliver these lessons to their student devices, and they'll be able to access them at any point in time, which is awesome. And then the whole point of Lumio is to engage the students anywhere. So again, the nice thing about Lumio being web-based is that it can, you can deliver lessons while students are in the classroom, or perhaps in a remote or hybrid situation, or an e-learning day or something along those lines. And it's still going to ignite collaboration, because even though they're not in the same room together, the tools that are within Lumio will allow them to collaborate together, which is really awesome. Another really great point about Lumio is that you can start from anywhere. So I mentioned to you that you can use multiple file types. So that means that we integrate with not only OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive, Google, and all of those great Microsoft Edge and all those different things. So if you guys are a Google district, you can actually connect your Google Drive right to your Lumio account, so that there's that synchronization of those files. Same thing with OneDrive. So you can start literally from anywhere where you already have those files stored. You can also do internal library storage and all that good stuff too. So we're going to take a closer look. So I'm going to actually switch out of this PowerPoint into an actual Lumio lesson. And by doing that, you'll see we're going to start in the student experience. So you guys are going to actually act as my students here in a second. So this is essentially what a Lumio lesson would look like. So you'll notice, again, I am in the Google Chrome browser, and I have this tab open that has my Lumio lesson up and running. So you can see down here that there are multiple pages of it, and we'll go through all of those, and this is how it can kind of toggle back and forth. So again, this is the student experience, and then we will transition into how we created this as well. But we want to show you that student experience so that you know exactly how your students can interact with this platform and what it would be like for them. So we're going to watch a quick little video here. It's just a little bit, it's like 2.5 minutes, just so you get, again, an overview of what Lumio is in case you're not familiar. So this should play on your screen. You might have to adjust the volume, but you should be able to see this.
Welcome to Lumio, where it's easy to turn your lessons into active, collaborative learning experiences to engage your students on a whole new level. Magically deliver lessons to student devices, whether they're learning in class, remotely, or on their own time. Start with your favorite content, including PDFs, PowerPoint files, Google Slides, YouTube videos, or a blank lesson. Quickly and easily combine the pages you want from different file types into one engaging Lumio lesson. Then bring it to life by adding images, text, and embedded video. Enhance with customizable game-based activities, graphic organizers, and much more. And now, find thousands of ready-made resources directly within Lumio, including lessons, templates, and digital manipulatives. You can even record instructional audio right in your web browser that students can play back as many times as they like for guidance and support anywhere, anytime. Lumio is flexible, allowing students to connect to your lessons in a web browser on any device, either in person or remotely with web conferencing. Guide them through your lesson, or let students explore at their own pace, and easily change delivery modes at any time with the push of a button. Students work on their own copy of the activities, while you observe and give feedback in real time using that activity's dashboard. Outside of class, students can continue their work on their own time with your audio instruction to guide them. For more insight to learning, you can add live polls, formative assessments, and game-based quizzes. Connect students and spark collaboration even at a distance with whole class or small group collaborative activities with a shared canvas. Students work together to contribute text, images, ink, web links, and more simultaneously in class and remotely. You can easily view which students added and edited items and add your feedback in real time. After the project is finished, you and your students can review it later with all the day's great learning captured. Lumio works with the classroom tools you already use daily for less context switching and tech headaches, making it easier for everyone to learn and use. Save time, foster strong connections, and keep students learning actively together wherever they are with Lumio. Try it out for free at lum.io.
Okay, awesome. So again, hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into what we're going to be seeing here within Lumio. And I do want to talk about that free version of Lumio too. So the really nice thing about that is if you did want to go to lum.io, you could try out Lumio for free. And none of the features that we're going to go through here are behind a paywall. The only thing you have to worry about with the free version is storage. So there is a storage limitation to that, but you will be able to create at least, 4 or 5 different lessons with multiple different add-ins and all that good stuff, all completely free. Again, the only limitation there is storage. So it's a great thing to try out if you want to, especially I know we're nearing the end of the school year, but something to try through the summer. Just take some of your existing lessons, put them into Lumio, and see how really engaging and collaborative you can turn those lessons into. So something to think about there with the free trial. Moving on to our next page. So the really great thing about Lumio, again, being web-based, is that students can connect from any device. So if you guys have your devices handy with you, any device, your phone, your laptop, an iPad, anything, we would love for you to connect to this lesson. So I'm going to give you some instructions here on how to do that. If you notice up here, there's a little 1. I've actually already connected to it. And that's how you get students to join. So basically, all you need to do is go to a website, hellosmart.com, and you'll enter in the class ID 911789, and you'll join as a guest. So I'm actually going to show you the next page here because it kind of has some instructions. So you're going to join my class by going to your preferred browser and go to hellosmart.com. And you will then join as a guest because you most likely don't have a school account as of right now. But if you do, if you're already a smart user, you can absolutely join using your school account. And you'll enter in the code 911789. You'll type in, your name if you want it to be your first name, last initial, and you can join. So you'll notice here that I've got some more people joining, which is awesome. So I had already joined from my personal computer. And when you join, you'll notice that you are now automatically on the page in which case I started the lesson. So you should all, on your own device, be seeing this same page. Join my class at hellosmart.com. So you kind of got 2 things going on here. If that's the situation. So you're kind of watching my webinar and you've got the lesson as well. So truthfully, you can be on the lesson page and just listen to me because we're going to kind of go through this together. So it seems like we have a good amount of people joined. So I think I'm going to move on from here unless anybody's having any issues. And so a couple things to know. Again, if you clicked on this little person, you see all of the people that are in your classroom. And you'll also notice this lesson pacing. So I am currently on teacher mode. So if you were to try and go down in your lower left-hand corner as the student, you cannot toggle from page to page. That is intentional, right? Because we don't at this point I don't want my students to go ahead or go back. I want them to be on the same pace as me. But at any point in time, when I change it to student pacing, you'll see that there's a pop-up at the bottom of your screen that says that you can now go to any page in this lesson. And that way you can now toggle between the pages. So again, I'm going to go back to teacher pacing and you should get a little notification there. But just a little something that is nice, and we, you know, obviously do that for flexibility when it comes to how you want to deliver your lesson. All right, so I'm going to go to the next page. And this next page is an individual handout that I would love for some of you to try out. So again, you guys are acting as the students here. So on your end, you just have to hit start, and then it might take a second to load, but then an activity is going to come up where it's going to ask you to add a meme or an image that goes with your word. So you'll notice on the left-hand side, there is a toolbar, and you can add text. You can add pictures. So just use the toolbar and add something to this. You can actually even add the letters down below. Those are infinitely cloned letters. So describe your school year in one word. And, you know, I'm going to add this, and just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So just take, you know, 30 seconds or so, find a picture, add some letters, whatever, however you want to describe how your school year has gone in one word. You can absolutely do that. You'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, there is a button called Done. When you click that and you look at my screen, and remember, my screen is now the teacher screen, right? Your screen is the student. My screen, what you're seeing from the webinar, is the teacher screen. So I have completed this, and I have a little green check mark because I completed and I hit done when I was finished with this activity. So this is one of our manipulatives. And again, I've turned this into an individual handout. So as you can see, every single one of you that's connected to the class has the ability to do this activity individually on their own device. And as the teacher, so again, from the webinar, I'm the teacher, and I can go in and I can look at student progress and see what they've done. So, you know, on mine, I said that my school year was better, meaning better than last, right? And then I can go and look at a different student, whether they're done or not, but again, I'll know that they're done by the little green check mark. So Whitney is saying that she's done. And the really cool thing is that I can add feedback, right? So from the teacher, as the teacher, I can go in and say, so glad to hear that. And only Whitney is going to see that feedback on her computer. So I'm going to go and do this to Cleaver here, memorable. And I can, again, go in and leave and just say, you know, love that. And only he or she is going to see the content on their activity. So again, this is one of our manipulatives, and these are infinitely clonable. And you can kind of go back and see, maybe, you know, Laura's not quite done yet. So I can say to her, you know, I can just go to my text and I can say, keep working hard. And only Laura is going to see that. So it's just a nice way that you can give student feedback. And again, you don't have to do that in front of the classroom. This can be, you know, during the lesson. It can be after the lesson, whatever is convenient for you. Awesome. So I'm going to move on to our next activity. So this is a super sort. This is, again, an option, kind of one of those game-based activities. This, too, is an individual handout. So on your end, if you could hit start, that would be great. You are going to essentially take the scenarios in the middle, and you are going to decide if you think it's a small problem to have or a large problem to have. So I see two kids fighting in the hallway. You know, I'm going to put that under big, and if I'm correct, the cannon is going to shoot, right? And it's going to essentially do that. You'll notice if I struck out at bat, if that's a big one, that does not shoot the other cannon. So you can kind of play around with that for a little bit. Just take about 30 seconds or so, play around with it, and see how that super sort works. So again, that's just, you know, kind of a, not necessarily something that's going to give you the data or the content, but one of those games that the students can play, you know, just to triple check their knowledge or something along those lines. So again, I'll just give you a couple more seconds to play with those so you can kind of see. Awesome. Okay, moving on to our next activity. So these, again, utilize some of our clonable things, so that blue dot that you see. So this, again, we're working on the size of the problem. So if you hit start on your end, you will then be able to drag the blue dot that's in the upper right-hand corner and kind of put it over if they think if the problem is a small, a medium, or a big problem. So again, I'm gonna just, drag this blue to see, that. And again, you can click done when you think that you've finished. And the nice thing about this too, this type of activity, is that, you've taken, something that you might already have, you've turned it into an individual handout for students to do this. And again, this is kind of a great gauge because, especially when I look at your friend tells you a mean name in front of everyone at lunch. For some people, that's going to be a big problem, right? And some people, it's going to be a small problem. So it kind of helps you get to know your students on a little bit more personal level as well. So again, you'll click done. And again, from my end, I can check student progress. So I can go in completely privately and I can look and see that Ellen thinks that, your pencil keeps breaking over and over is a medium issue. Your friend's calling you a mean name is a medium issue. But when I look, at someone else's work, they may have a different view, right? So you can see that, Jen thinks that your pencil breaking is just a small problem. So you can, again, kind of gauge where your students are at, and it's completely individual. They're not working with anybody yet, and it gives you an insight into your students' knowledge, opinions, thoughts, all that great stuff. So really great activity for SEL learning, which I know is a big target in Illinois. Awesome. So we're going to move on. And again, all of these activities are just examples of activities that you can create within your Lumio lesson for your students to be, interactive within their own device, right? So this one is rank order. So if you go ahead and hit start, you will be able to rank those problems. So now these are images, right? So the really great thing about Lumio is that just in these 4 activities that you've seen, text, we've seen images, we've seen clonable manipulatives, all of these different things that, finding images, writing, how your school year was, all those things. There's just so many different ways that you can use Lumio. That's fantastic. So with this one, again, it's an individual activity. So if you think that, breaking your pencil is a small, you could, put that in small. If you think that a flat tire is big, then we can add that to like the large. You can rank them yourself. So if you guys want to take a minute and do that, that would be fantastic. So you just drag the picture over to whatever position you think it needs to be within the rank. Those of you that are not familiar with SMART, you are probably noticing our monsters everywhere. So those are kind of our mascots. So whenever SMART does anything, there's monsters everywhere. We have 9 different monsters, so you'll kind of see them intermittently throughout the lesson as well. So that's just kind of our mascot and part of our identity and our brand. So they remind a lot of people of Monsters Inc., which is always good and it's fun to do. So when we've ranked, this is just, again, you can just see or start that conversation of how students feel about those problems. So, you can easily do this as an individual basis. You can do this as a whole class thing, however is best for you guys to do that. So just wanted to show you a few different options. And like I said, those were all individual handouts, as we call them. So you can set up your lesson to make any page. So you'll notice that, again, this lesson has 14 pages. These first few were not individual handouts. That just meant that everyone could see what was going on. But 5, 6, 7, 8, those were all set up as individual handouts. So again, every single student has the ability to do their own page or their own activity on their own student device. We also have an option to do group or collaborative activities. So when you notice that I'm on slide 9, and from your perspective, it shows that the teacher isn't running this activity yet. And on my side, I just have to quick set it up. So I'm going to click on setup. And the really cool thing about our group or our collaborative activity is that it offers you an option to do teams, right? So you can choose how many teams you want, and it will kind of give you an option based on how many people are in the class. So I'm just going to do 3 teams here. Yeah, I'll do 3. And you'll notice that everyone is randomly put into teams. Now, if you don't like how those teams have been set up, you can absolutely drag the names to adjust, right? So if I know that, Whitney and Kim don't get along, I can switch them around. Or if I know that Jill is at a different reading level than Laura, I could switch that around based on ability level as well. So that's super exciting. So, and on your end, you'll see, that you're just waiting for the teacher to assign the teams. So with this, I'm going to start the workspace. And when I do, you should, on your side, see the team that you're in. And you can then get ready to start the activity. Now, the one thing we haven't talked about is this situation right here. It's like a little audio with a play. So from your end, you could probably play that. I'm going to play it for here. Every single page that we have, you can insert up to 5 minutes of audio instructions. So this is obviously great for our auditory learners. So
you may use ink, text, or photos to describe a problem and then the solution to the problem.
So again, you can use ink, text, or photos to describe a problem.
You may use ink, text, or photos to describe a problem and then the solution to the problem.
So you'll find, use those tools to find or to describe a problem and then also to find a solution to the problem. So on, I'm on team 2. So on team 2, I can say, that the problem is that I'm going to select an, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to use an image, and you'll notice that our images, if you want to go add an online image, those images are a Bing safe search, which is really great. So you won't have to worry about inappropriate images coming up at any point in time. So if my problem, is a broken pencil, I can put a picture of a broken pencil in my problem, and I just drag it. That's all I have to do is drag it. And then you can resize it, and you'll notice that other people in your team are working too. So you can collaboratively work together, because again, I'm on a team. So myself, Whitney, Jill, and Jen are working on team 2. So we can only see what's happening on team 2 right now. I can't see what team 1 is doing. I can't see what team 3 is doing. And again, between the 2 people, you can, or between the groups, you can obviously manipulate your page and edit it that way. So as the teams are working, and I'm going to continue to talk as you guys play around with this, again, you can add images, you can add inking or text as well. I can then, as the teacher, check in on group 2. So when I clicked on team 2, I can see that, yep, they are working. And as the video showed you, I can click on something, look at the drop down, and see who it was added by. I also have the ability to delete and duplicate in case, something's not right, or you do want to have, something duplicated, you can do that. So I can see that Jill added a messy desk, and she's added, I think, a clean desk over here, right? And in this auditory instruction, we could have said, we want, this person to do the problem and then another person to do a solution, something along those lines. Perfect. Yeah. Car crash, seatbelt, all that. So that's really cool. And again, you can go and look at team 1. And again, I can give feedback as necessary as well. So I can say, awesome start, and only the people in team 1 can see that feedback. or, you know, if I go to team 2, I just want everyone to see that. So you can kind of see how, as the teacher, you can give feedback. Not spelling things right, but you should be able to see the feedback very shortly after I've added it. So I'll add it to every team just so that you can see what I'm talking about. Love that you guys are all participating. Thank you guys so much for doing all of that. So this is how one of our collaborative spaces work. So again, you set it up as a teacher into however many teams you want, and then you can add audio instruction if you want, but the audio instruction isn't necessarily required. And then, like I said, the teams can work together to complete this activity. So awesome job here. I'm going to change it down to the next page. So this is, I believe we're back to an individual, or maybe it's a whole group activity. So we've talked about the fact that we can do individual activities or handouts. We have shown how we can do collaborative or team activities, but we can also do whole group or whole class activities as well. So once I start this, when I start it, you will then see on your end that you this is a formative assessment. I'm so sorry. I thought that we were going to the whole class. So let me go back. This is a formative assessment. So this is literally a assessment that the students can complete, and you can then grab the data from that. So you can export the data to get this and use it for your grading purposes, whether you're using standards-based grading or, you know, standard or, you know, your typical ABCDF situation. So you can, you know, use this. You'll notice there's a 1 of 1. It's just one question, but you hit that arrow and then you'll have the ability to submit answers. And on my end, you noticed that I could see the progress, and I can even look at the live results and see what people are doing. So the really cool thing about this, again, from the teacher perspective, is that as soon as I end this activity, I can end and review, and then, like I said, I can export these results. And you'll notice it exported right to an Excel doc. And when I open that Excel doc, you will see that you have the student name, you know, who got what correct, and all of that good stuff. So you can kind of see those answers and grab that data again for your grading purposes. So that is super helpful to do formative assessments within Lumio as well. All right, moving on. Okay, so monster quiz. So this is a fun little activity as well. So again, we talked about our monsters. So we're going to divide you guys. I'm going to divide you guys into teams. And again, I'm going to just do 3 teams. And you'll notice it's going to randomize those people again. So it's not going to be the same team. So we've got the Mega Melters, the Magma Blasters, the Crate Critters. And you'll see that on your screen, you can see who is on your team. So this is another quiz or another assessment. However, this is going to be more of an informal assessment for you to do. So as soon as I hit start quiz on the teacher end, you will see that you have on your end a go situation, and you can answer these questions. So as your team, go ahead and do that. So does Lumio integrate with Google Content? And you'll see that there's, you know, speed involved and all that good stuff. Ooh, we haven't talked about if Lumio has to be used with a smart board, but we will after this. You'll see if you get it right or not. So yeah, so just, you know, take that quiz. Just a quick 3-question quiz. You'll see, you know, that the Magma Blasters won, meaning that they got the most right in the quickest amount of time. And as the teacher, you can always review those as well. So the Magma Blasters finished in 25 seconds, getting 88% right. The Mega Melters got 77% right, and the Crate Critters got 91% right, but they finished in the slowest time. So again, you know, you can set this up in a number of different ways, but it's just a fun assessment for them to do that. So I did not say, I should say, just to clarify, I think the only question that we didn't maybe know the answer to was, does Lumio have to be used on a smart panel? The answer is no, because it's web-based. If you don't have a smart panel in your classroom, you still can use Lumio, right? You can use it on an interactive whiteboard, anything that has that web-based situation. So even if it's our competitor's panel, you can still use Lumio. It just, you just have to have that web browser experience. So great point that you do not have to use a smart panel in order to use Lumio. You just have to have a web browser. Cool, and then on your screen you can see the scores, the answers that you got right, and all that good stuff too as well. So all of that is fun. All right, cool. So our next fun activity is a shout it out. And we talked about SEL a little bit before. This is another really great option for an SEL situation, or just kind of a check-in. A lot of teachers will use this feature for an entrance ticket or an exit ticket or something along those lines. So when I start this for the class, so basically what you'll see is a shout it out is going to be a response that the students can give. And in this case, we're asking the question, what has been your favorite feature so far? So from what you've seen so far, what is your favorite feature? So on your end, you can enter a response. You can actually enter 5 responses. So if you have something else, you can obviously add it. You can add up to 5 responses, and that's completely editable as well. You can change how many responses you want the students to give. But yeah, so just type in what has been your favorite feature so far and hit that send response, and you'll notice they're coming up onto kind of a monster background, and I'll show you what you can do as the teacher here with that in a second. So as the teacher, so if you do have a panel and you want to display these answers, you absolutely can do that. And the really cool thing about that is that you can click on one and it will make it larger so that you can then obviously go through it, talk more in depth about it, and all of that good stuff. So it involves all learners, absolutely. The other thing you can do is actually sort these. So you can move them around so they're not completely stationary, like, they're not locked into place or anything like that. And you'll notice here too that you have a 3-letter name. So this is actually the first 3 letters of Cleaver, or Clever, however you say that. And you can see that that's who's contributed. And you can see that she or he has contributed multiple responses because they kind of have the same shape. And obviously the first 3 letters are the same as well. If you do not want that to happen, you can go into the settings as you're setting it up, and you can turn off the name part. So you do not have to display names. You can actually turn that off. Let's see, I feel like I should be able to get it from here, but maybe not. You can turn it off, and you can then have completely anonymous responses, which again would be a great thing for SEL. So just to kind of go through, so we love the monsters, and you'll see there's a quick little arrow here, so it does go through everything, so you don't have to pick and choose, and you might miss one that way. I said this, that I was excited to teach you all about Lumio. Involves all learners, team challenges, that it's web-based, totally customizable, very interactive, a variety of pre-made activities. Yes, makes learning fun. We love the monster quiz. We love agnostic cloud access. Absolutely super easy to use for students. That's why we kind of have you start, just so you guys get an idea. Love that you can give feedback. We love that it's engaging, interactive, digital manipulatives. Yep, all these things. Breaking into groups, real-time data, gameplay, challenge feature. Absolutely. Yep, all of these things is exactly what we wanted you to get from Lumio. That is why it's so great. All of those things that you mentioned. So thank you guys for taking part in that as well. So again, that's called our shout it out. And again, you can move these, you can group them. And again, within your settings, when you're creating the lesson, you can turn off those names so that it's more anonymous, and you can limit the responses, or actually the responses can be in text, or you can make the responses in an image as well, which is cool. All right, so we're going to kind of go into from student mode to now teaching mode. So you can kind of stay on whichever page you want, but that was just, again, we had you go through as a student so that you saw how easy it was and you saw kind of the different activities that you could do. So now we're going to transition into kind of teaching mode, right? So just as a reminder, you can absolutely start with ready-made content or lessons you already have. And then you can enhance within just a few clicks. And we'll show you what that looks like here in a second. This is intended to engage your students no matter where they're learning, so classroom, home, library, wherever. The intent is to deliver lessons to individual student devices so that they have a more hands-on interactive experience. And then the one step that we didn't talk about is that you can actually share your lesson with students so that they have access to this lesson, you know, after the classroom or after school, but you can also share a copy of this lesson to your colleagues. So if you have a colleague and you guys both know that you're teaching, you know, about the Vietnam War, and you create a Lumio lesson about it, you can then share a copy of that with your colleague, and they can either take it as it is or kind of enhance it the way that they want to as well. So, you know, we didn't want it to just be very static and, you know, one teacher, one lesson. So we do have the option to share it out with your colleagues as well. All right, so the last thing is that if you're still on the student device, you should be able to click that button in the middle, and it's going to take you to a PDF, which is just kind of a more detailed version of how you can get more information about Lumio. So there's a 5 easy steps to get started. We offer, I don't know if you guys follow us on social media, but we offer weekly webinars all about Lumio. So, you know, different features and how to use it and all that good stuff. So you can see that. You can obviously join the conversation. If you haven't followed us on social media, please do. We are on all of the different social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the things, and we use the hashtag #GoLumio. And if you are familiar with smart products already, and especially Lumio, we would love for you to become an ambassador. Our ambassador program is great. You guys get to kind of try things out before they hit the public and all that good stuff. And then we also have a really, really strong support site too. So at the very bottom, you'll see support. And if you click on that, you are going to obviously be taken to our support page where you can email us and ask us questions, and people will get back to you, you know, as soon as they possibly can. So we're going to go back to the PowerPoint now. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not. I'm on. We're just kidding. I'm going to show you a couple things about how to actually create this lesson. So when you are at your Lumio dashboard, we've got some new stuff. Seasonal practice resources and more templates and manipulatives. So this is what your Lumio dashboard looks like. Kind of looks like Google Drive, right? So a lot of schools use Google. So we kind of wanted to mimic that just for the ease and the compatibility of that. So I actually do have my Google Drive integrated or synced with my Lumio account, which gives me access to all of my Google Drive. So it just is a quicker way to access those lessons that you've already created. So again, this is kind of your dashboard. The easiest way to start is by clicking this green button, Add Activities. So from here is kind of where you're going to get all of the things, right? So if you want to import an existing lesson, this is how you do it. And again, you can import via PDF, Notebook, PowerPoint, or Google Slides. So you can import from a local storage, you can import from the actual Lumio library, or from your Google Drive. So I am going to actually go to my Google Drive, and I'm just going to pick any lesson, and I have a lovely landmark one that I'm going to use. So it's importing, and I'm not going to go through all of this because that is a whole nother training, but I just want to show you the ease of it, right? So I've imported a lesson that's a PDF file from my Google Drive, and it might take a second depending on how big the lesson is to import. From here, I can choose which of the pages I want to import. So maybe you have a unit lesson and you only need, you know, pages 1 through 4, right? So you have the ability to do that. I'm actually just going to import just the first 3. So I'm importing the first 3. And this blue banner kind of indicates that you're in editing mode. So you can rename this if you want to. So I can say idea landmarks, since that's what we're doing today. And then from here, I can add, so you're going to get that big box again. So this is the cool part. We can search for resources this way. So you can add in other people's content, and you can filter by like grade level, location, if you want it to make sure that it's in English, subjects and all that kind of stuff. But you can also see that we are integrated with multiple different situations. So YouTube, which again are going to be education-based safe search YouTube videos, Desmos, which is a graphing calculator, and then PhET, which is interactive simulation. So we integrate with those really, really well. And then these are all of the things that we kind of showed you in the actual, when you were acting as the student. So we have multiple graphic organizers, literally there, and we just added, I think, some more too. We have those manipulatives as well that we talked about, how we did the letter one. This is our making words, but you can add, you know, there's coins and fractions and all that great stuff. We also have some questioning and reflection activities, some activating prior knowledge activities. Here's our game-based. So we showed, what did we do? We did rank order, we did a monster quiz, we did a super sort, but we have, you know, what, like 14 different games. Here's our formative response. So you'll notice that you can add in multiple choice, true, false, multiple answer, poll opinion, short answer. And this is, again, the formative response is how you collect that data. We also have the shout it out, which is the last thing that we did. And then we do have new pages as well. So we have templated pages. So, you know, seasonal things, winter and all that good stuff. Earth Day, smart branded ones, you know, we just kind of, and the nice thing about lined paper, dotted paper. So we do have all of those options, lines, graphs, dots. The other thing too that I love about these templates is that, you know, it's not just a title page. We have a bunch of title pages, but we have header pages and content pages. So it's kind of like a PowerPoint or a Google Slides built into that. So that's kind of how you add and zhuzh up your lessons. So you can kind of add in, and you'll notice when you add something, it just adds as a new page. So I'm going to add in a brainstorming web, and you'll see it just adds in here. And again, as the teacher, I can go in and add and say US landmarks, and you can change the font and all that good stuff, however you need to. Pretty easy to do as you're creating at home. The last thing I kind of want to show you is just this. So this little wand here allows you to turn any page into the individual handout that we talked about, or a group workspace, or the whole class whiteboard. So again, those are your 3 options, and you have that option on every single page. So no matter what you're doing, you can turn it into an individual handout, a group workspace, or a whole class whiteboard. The other thing is that audio instruction piece. So from here, you can start recording. So I'm now recording instructions. And again, you get 5 minutes of audio instruction per page. You can review it, you can, you know, continue recording, and you just hit add. And now when the students see it, they'll see this little icon, and they can then hear it and listen to it on their own. So like I said, it's super, super, super easy to do. You can take your existing lesson, zhuzh it up just by using this blue plus sign, and you just kind of play around. And the other thing, let me actually show you a game too. I always do, let's do a word search. So when I add in a word search, you can customize how you're doing it. And, you know, the title can be landmarks. So I'm doing Eiffel as in tower. You can obviously do that. We're going to do golden for Golden Gate Bridge. And I'm just going to make it easy. I'm going to hit next. Now the thing, you can customize the theme of it. I'm just going to do a simple one. But what I love about this is that you can preview what the activity is going to look like, so that you know if the students are going to have, you know, an easy time figuring out, or maybe a harder time. So Eiffel is right here, great, and it crosses it off for you, right? So, so you can just, and then here's golden. And easy, I believe, is just horizontal and vertical. But yeah, so you can kind of preview it and all that good stuff too when you're creating those games. So, and then you just literally click finish editing, and then your lesson will just sync right to your Lumio dashboard, and you can start it from here. Or if you need to go back in and edit, or you can, share it here. So these are the two share links that we talked about. So this one gives a copy of this lesson to other teachers, or this one allows students to access this lesson and work at their own pace. And let's say that, you had a sub and you wanted them to have 2 days to do this while you were out of the classroom. If you wanted to turn off the ability to access this link, you could absolutely hit stop sharing at any point in time, and the students no longer have access to that. Or if you need to turn it back on, you can absolutely turn it back on as well. So super simple, super engaging, super collaborative. That's the whole kind of point of this. So we've taken a closer look. You've seen how this is going to be helpful for your students. As a teacher, if you have a smart panel or you have an interactive flat panel in your classroom, you can be up at the board facilitating, or you can always create that lesson, send it out to the students, and have them work at their own pace as well. One really exciting thing I want to talk to you about is our new features. So if you do follow us on social media, we had kind of a bracket challenge or kind of a thing going on during March Madness where people got to vote for the new features that were going to be added. So you can see we have 2 pages of new features. So fishbone diagrams, timelines, comic strip templates, and then if you go to the next page, we have more extensive Venn diagrams, a bingo card, mind maps, even playing chess and dominoes. So some new features that we're really excited about that are added into Lumio as well. So just to kind of recap, how Lumio shines versus other, web-based or cloud-based lesson creators. One, flexible lesson delivery. Like we just talked about, you can be up at the panel or up at your whiteboard facilitating, or you can give that option to your students, not only within teacher pace, but student pace as well. You saw real-time collaboration, no matter if they're in the classroom together or if, there's a remote situation or an e-learning day, they can still collaborate in real time. There's not even a lag in any of that. Multiple ways to engage, again, from our graphic organizers to our manipulatives to our games to the formative assessments, always different ways that you can engage within the lesson. And then to combine and edit existing files and new resources, to us, that is the most important thing. We want your teaching life to be as easy and seamless as possible. So we don't want you to recreate the wheel. We want you to literally take what you've already had and you've already spent the time working on and just have the ability to kind of add that collaboration or add that engagement so that it's that much more interactive for the students. And again, it extends your teaching and the students' learning by doing project-based learning, task boards, choice boards, student discussion starters, student voice, and student choice, right? Those are really, really important pillars within education. And it's so important for us, that this product offers all of those different things. So we're really, really excited about that as well. I know students,
Courtney,
obviously, we love student choice and all that good stuff. Yes.
Hey, Courtney. Sorry to interrupt. Just 5 more minutes.
Yes.
Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you so much. I think we're winding down anyway. We might have some Q&A. So perfect. Let's see. Yeah. So then here's the thing. If I'm gonna put this link in the chat as well. So I've created the file for this lesson. So I will put that in the chat. Okay, maybe not. I'll go back to the lesson and do it that way. But just so that you have kind of a starter file, or you can kind of see how things work within Lumio. So we will put that link in the chat as well. But again, when I click on it, it's just going to go right to the lesson itself. So I will put that link in the chat as well. I'm going to go back here and share that really quickly. So I'm going to share the copy of it so that you guys have it. Oh, we're reloading. Why are we reloading? All right, so I can share from here as well. Copy, perfect. Let me go back here. So here's the link to the Lumio lesson that we did today as you guys were students. And then let me go back to my PowerPoint. I don't think we had much else, but let's see. Nope, that was it. So we have about 4 or 5 minutes left for questions. I know Kim was doing a great job moderating during that, but are there any questions that we can answer at this point that maybe you didn't get a chance to ask throughout? No? Nothing?
Doesn't look like it yet.
Okay.
I don't see
Well,
any
you guys are
in the chat.
hopefully, I was going to say, so just to kind of recap, I'm going to do a couple things. So first things first, I'm going to put one more link in the chat. So if you click on that bit.ly link, you will be entered into
Uh-oh. I think Courtney got frozen there.
But we can go ahead and add that link back into the chat in case you missed it earlier. So this is for
yes,
the
frozen
raffle.
for everyone. Yep.
Yep, frozen for everyone, I think.
Oh, I'm back.
Oh,
can you hear me? Sorry,
there you are.
Apparently my Wi-Fi was like, you're done for the day. Stop.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was going to say I put
yeah, we got it. We got
okay,
it in
good.
there.
Okay, cool. So the Lumio link or the Lumio lessons there. Hopefully our giveaway link is in there. I know Whitney, I saw just put the hour for the PDH. And the last thing I was going to say is that if you guys, I'm going to put my email address in here as well in case it's the longest thing in the history of the world. So you can copy and paste that. Of course, email us with any questions or, hop on that free trial. If you go to lum.io, start the free trial. Again, nothing that you saw today is excluded in that free trial. The only limitation to it is storage. So we really want you to get a chance to use it. Again, yeah, Whitney said, thank you guys for joining us. We so appreciate that. And let us know if you guys have any questions at all.
And I just wanted to remind everyone too, we'll be sending out a copy of the recording of this webinar in the next 24 to 48 hours if you are registered for the webinar. And we'll also include any resources that Courtney and her team share with us. And also don't forget to check the chat for the link to fill out the form to obtain your professional development hours for your license renewal. If you have any questions, we'll hang on for a couple more minutes.
Yep.
Feel free to come off mute or put them in the chat. And thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks for hosting, Whitney.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this. I loved my, oh, sorry, I'm getting a notification I wasn't sure what to do with. But anyway, back forever ago, I loved my smart board. I noticed you call it something different now. So
yeah, they're interactive flat panels now.
Flat panel.